Comment of the week. I really like this one. It's from Requiem 2099. And he says, it's wild to me that Honda hasn't released a CB750 Hornet-based sport bike yet. And I wonder if it's being held up by their US noise restrictions that are preventing them from releasing the US version of the CB750 Hornet. I'll read this through, mate, and then go back through with the details. They're finally bringing the Transalp to the US a year later than everyone else, but it's rumored to be cut down to 83 horsepower for the same restrictions that forced Kawasaki to gimp, that's their words, not mine, the ZX4RR down to 56 horsepower. Okay. That effectively kills its HP horsepower advantage over Suzuki's 776cc twin platform, acceptable in a less horsepower-focused adventure market with the Transalp, but a non-starter in the sporty, naked, and super sport markets. Now, Requiem 2099, excellent analysis of the situation there. If you want a job to replace me as chief presenter on MOTOBOB, just drop me a line. But I like that. There's a lot in there because I'm not necessarily... It's weird. Our biggest audience is in the US, but I'm not necessarily across what's available on the market there because all my dealings are with the UK marketing teams and PR teams and dealerships. Yeah. So it's nice to get these comments that give me a little bit of information. But the general idea is, you know, they've built the 750 Hornet, they've built the 750 Transalp. Everyone's expecting a twin cylinder 750 sports bike with the same engine to compete with stuff like the Yamaha R7 and the Ninja 650 and the ZX4RR that we talked about, and also Suzuki's new GSX 8R. But they're saying they haven't released the Hornet yet, and they've managed to get the Transalp out, but it's cut down to 80 horsepower because when it revs too high, I believe, that's when it starts to make an absolute racket. And I believe the sound testing is kind of different in the US. Maybe they test the full rev range, whereas I think in Europe, it's static and at a certain point in the rev range. So this is why now, if you ride a bike like the new Street Triple, for example, if you are in neutral at a standstill and try and rev it, it just has a rev limiter at like 4,000 RPM. It doesn't let you rev it so that they can't noise test it. You can just full throttle it and it's not going to make much sound. Yeah, I believe that's why they do it. But maybe it's different in the US. Have you ever ridden a bike that has one of those limiters in neutral?
No.
Like the Harleys do it as well, like the Pan America and stuff.
I've never come across
really
it. Didn't even
annoying,
know it was
mate.
a thing. Yeah, I can imagine it would be,
How are you meant to get people outside a pub or cafe to look at you and appreciate how cool you are if you can't rev it up to the rev line?
Hello.
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at my bike.
You roll up, you forget you've got the limiter, and you just go, you twist the throttle wide open, and it just goes like this. It goes like, that's what it sounds like. Actually, our podcast producer said the best part of the last episode was when we mimicked.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Motorcycles with our mouths.
Obviously.
So more of that. Anyway, so yeah, it's very interesting because Kawasaki have done the same thing with the ZX4RR that I just talked about, mate. The only good thing about that bike is you can rev the absolute balls off it and it'll make 77 horsepower. But if you limit that down to 56, it's just kind of like...
Go on, give me a demonstration.
The fundamental essence of the essence of what makes that bike good.
No, give the people what they want. Make the noise.
Oh, right, I see. Instead of like... zzz, it's like... zzz, which is less exciting.
Yeah.
And so that is a bit of a, I don't know, dull situation if you're looking to buy some of these new bikes that are quite fun.
Yeah.
In the US, they're just getting like 10 or 20 horsepower knocked off the top and probably paying the same price for it. And it's a really good point. Reed Suzuki and Honda, they both came out with these 750 twins a year or two back. And they're both planning to make an adventure bike and naked and maybe the sports bikes. But the Hornet has sold in incredible volumes in the UK. It was one of the best-selling bikes like every month last year because the price is really, really good. It's like £1,000 less than the Suzuki. And it makes like 10, 15 more horsepower. So everyone's like, I think it's about 10 more horsepower maybe. Then you're starting to think in the US, well, I don't know, the Honda doesn't look that exciting anymore. And it sort of levels it out. So for Honda, it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Unless you're going to go to the trouble of, either de-restricting or doing some sort of tinkery with it to get it back up to, I don't know if it's even possible, but that's just
That's very
It's a tough sell,
underhand
isn't
and
it?
dishonest of you, mate. And I wouldn't do anything like that.
No.
No, I do think you can get the ZX4RR, maybe like flashed or something.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
But then
I know Yami Noob had one, and I'm pretty sure he did some bits on it. They always put
Okay.
exhausts on and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe you can get a bit of that power back. But yeah, I feel very bad for anyone in the US